And we got Supreme Cannon here on Mike in the Night, episode 630, buddy. It's been a long time. It's been a very long time, Supreme. We are in season 34, episode 1 on Mike in the Night here. And he's here to help me wind the show down. And I appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight on what is going down, where it's going down, and how it's going down.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Feliz Navidad, everybody. Nice to be here again.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same to you, buddy. Yeah, here we go again. Darn if we didn't make it to another one, eh?
Yep. And
I vote that we keep doing that.
yeah, we'll just keep doing our best, plugging away, and you know what? We're still here.
That's right. Yeah. There was times it looked pretty sketchy, but
All these years, last 10 years, and all the shit they're throwing at us, and we're still here. We're going into 2026 in a few days.
It is nonstop, my friend, and from every direction. Yeah, it's tough. People like I always say, live by code, internalize it, drill it deep down in your heart, and just don't pay attention to the noise because they're bombarding you from every angle with it. They're trying to make you comply.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or just not resist.
Yeah.
They're trying to break you down. And let's face it, some days, man, it works. They do their homework. You got to tip your hat to them for that.
Okay, our earlier caller, we're just going to jump into what you're saying here and tie in our earlier caller, DY, came in and told us that we're pretty much done. We're finished. So she sent us this image here. You guys can take a screenshot and read that.
Yeah,
I'll leave it up there for a few seconds. And
I'm gonna bring that up.
She's not lying. I mean, DY is not lying here. And let's tell you guys a little bit about DY. DY is a very attractive, model, like a very good-looking, attractive model. And I've seen, on her Instagram and stuff. And she's a really outspoken person. And she's been preaching this for a good while now. So she came on the show and told us we're pretty much done. It's game over. I believe, and I'm just going to tell you what I believe, and you're going to go ahead. I believe that the missing factor in this equation is I believe China's population is 400 million people and 200 million are over 60. I don't believe what they tell us about the statistics and the birth rates. It's all bullshit because China announced last week that they're having a population crisis. They're having with 1.4 billion people. How is that even possible? So I think... Sure. Logically, if China has 1.4 billion people, you may see some sort of an offense of Chinese really pushing the button, like she said, soldiers on the ground, military men, not psychological war. But I don't believe China has the manpower that they want us to believe. Go ahead, Supreme.
Well, all of Western Europe during the World Wars barely numbered 400 million, so I don't think that's necessarily the problem, Mike. Off the top of my head. China has done a lot of automation, right? They're using AI in every way that they can for their economic production. Yes, an aging population is a problem, and they're working hard to resolve that because obviously they're not dumb people. They see the problems. But the other thing that we need to keep in mind is these are people that are working their way up from the century of humiliation and then the Civil War and the Cultural Revolution and then building out their infrastructure when they became the workshop to the world. So, they're wealthy. Everyone is overall wealthy. There's areas that are poor, but look at North America. One of the industrial gems of the entire world was Detroit. Look at it now, right? Like it's gone completely backwards. So this can happen anywhere. But number one, I don't think China needs to put boots on the ground anywhere. I don't think they're really gonna. I mean, they're a threat to Taiwan just as much as the U.S. has made Taiwan a threat to the mainland.
Do you see China taking Australia?
No, it's too far away, and the U.S. Navy would intervene.
And
it would be World War. Anything that results in World War III means the nukes fly. It's not happening. And why would that? Australia is happy to sell them coal and iron ore and meat and baby formula and whatever else. They've become quite dependent on it, actually. So I don't think so. I think they'd like to avoid it. But the thing about America, the Anglo way of war is you provoke the other guy to do something, right? So they're going to try provocations. I see Ukraine just sent 90 odd drones against Putin's personal residence this last couple of days. So, that's MI6 and, the SBU in Ukraine and all the usual people trying to cause provocations. They're trying to get people stirred up, and the reason they're doing it, I think, is so that America is forced to intervene. Look what our favorite country in the Eastern Mediterranean did attacking Iran last summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying. Everyone is trying to force the U.S. to intervene. They're trying to force them to do it, so they're being provoked to do stuff too. Yeah, well, if it becomes a matter of not being able to get resources to feed their industries, obviously there's a big controversy with the shortage of silver right now, and it looks like part of the reason Venezuela is being blockaded isn't just oil; it's to keep one of the major silver producing areas of the world from delivering more product to China.
Right.
I strongly suspect that's part of it too. This is probably more a silver war than an oil war from the looks of it. And that's not going to get resolved unless they come to some kind of negotiation. I see how they've juxtaposed all the different powers in the world circa 1914, and a lot of it makes sense. I can't disagree with it. But it's obviously not going to unfold that way if war does break out. The thing is, Russia is a lot more ready for war now than it was in 1914. China was a divided, colonized, basically conquered landmass. Every power in Europe plus Japan had troops there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely not going to let that happen again. The thing that people need to keep in mind is Russia and China themselves have been metaphorically gang raped by the Western financial and imperial system already. They know the playbook very well. And I guarantee they've spent the last 20 years, same as Iran, preparing for what they were expecting. And I think that's going to create a standoff. I don't think it's going to go full kinetic, because the U.S. doesn't really have any strong proxies. The last strong proxy they had was Ukraine. Well, that completely failed. And now Europe is collapsing. NATO is collapsing.
And your friend Mark Carney just sent $2 billion or whatever dollars.
Yeah, well, on the bright side, half of it is coming back to Ottawa anyway, I'm sure. So
it's all laundered, and it's going to hit back the bank accounts out here for the corrupt.
Yeah, or it's heading to aerospace and arms manufacturers here, or one way or the other. We're not really giving them money; we're giving it to our own defense plants, and obviously generous bribes, and who knows where half those weapons are going, because they don't seem to be showing. They don't all seem to be showing up on the ground in Ukraine. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's I agree with that. It's going to be a wild year. Yeah, like we've pounded on the table now. I mean, I've been talking to you on this channel for 6 years now, and I've been pounding on the table. I mean, I understand our means are limited. I understand you can't do everything, and the people around you probably tell them, well, we should put some extra food away, and they don't listen. They just don't listen. We're done trying to convince people. I think it's just we look after ourselves, and then hopefully we have what we need to look after the people we love. You're going to have to practice triage and be very selective about who you help. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. But all of the things we were talking about, they took longer to arrive than we thought they would. But and it's dragged out a long time because the powers that be, well, we couldn't expect them to give up without a fight. But they're losing. They are losing their grip. They're pretty desperate now. I mean, Germany is rearming. Japan is rearming. It will take 10 years for them to arm. Japan and Russia, or China and Russia, already have a major head start in that regard. They're not going to catch up. It's not possible. And then how are you going to sell a war to the average young European man or American or Canadian young man who's been completely disenfranchised in his own country?
Yeah, that's what I kept saying. Who are you going to fight for? I'm going to go fight to protect Chinese communist interests in Canada? What?
Well, that's right, yeah.
The Chinese control the fentanyl and the drug trade in Canada. The Chinese own a good portion of our real estate. The Chinese control the supply and demand and artificial shortages. We got 3.1 million empty homes across Canada. Condos and houses and mixed townhomes, whatever. 3.1
that's right.
million empty. And what does the government do? He goes after Canadian people that have Airbnb residents and blaming them for the housing shortage and not the 3.1 million empty units across Canada owned by Chinese
Yeah,
corporations.
sure. But those are just safety deposit boxes to store money, right? It's in the end, that's what they're doing. Canadian real estate seemed like it was going to go to the moon. I would not be surprised if a lot of those people stopped dumping them, especially if relations really break down. Because I mean, we can say that Canada is allied with China, but America has the veto on that. It's not happening. I don't think it is. It's not going to unfold that way anyway. And you can't really expect Ottawa. Okay, we're going to start cracking down on people when you've got 3 provinces that are talking separation. I mean, if they were smart, they'd back off. But they're not smart. But they're also desperate, right? They're trying to keep this thing going in Europe right now. Yeah, this is the thing. If Canada can hold together 2 more electoral cycles, all those old elbows up liberal boomers, those absolutely tedious people that have been making our lives so terrible, will be dead.
Yeah.
They won't be an issue.
Well, Canada's GDP, if you go back and watch our little shorts in order, Canada's GDP contraction is contracting in 11 major sectors. Mortgage debt is hitting historic levels. And household savings are collapsing. Okay.
Yeah.
We got tons of layoffs, and most of these layoffs are quiet layoffs. We had our first caller in, or second caller in, telling about massive layoffs everywhere in small to medium businesses. Central banks are trapped with this bad debt and rate cuts and now inflation, and they got to raise rates to hedge against it because the bond market, and then commercial real estate vacancies. No one's talking about that, but we have acreage of commercial office buildings that are completely empty, and then food prices are not stabilizing, and then if they do stabilize food prices, shrinkflation kicks in and everything gets smaller, but you're still paying the same, but you're getting less, right? Yeah. And then we got rent control failures, punishing the renters. And then immigration targets that we have to follow to because of when Canada in 2018 signed the UN Migration Pact, Trudeau signed that, and they have to get so many migrants in per year, and they're going to be monitoring that. Young adults abandoning home ownership. We have multi-generational households folding because they just can't keep the lights on anymore. Foreign capital's taken over. It's like it's the rare cancers. It's this. Doctors admitting that they're not really helping anybody. Pfizer just announced 100 and something years in existence, and they haven't cured a damn thing in 100 something years.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all coming out, isn't it? It's all entering the public consciousness, despite censorship, despite, narrative maintaining legacy media. Nobody's watching that stuff anymore under the age of 40.
Well, they're watching Mike in the Night now.
They're watching Mike in the Night, baby. You bet. Or nearest equivalent, right? Or they're on X, or they're on Facebook, or they're wherever. Yeah, that's right. Or Douyin and those other, or VK in Russia or China, right? Yeah, no, I mean the young have their own media access, and these people were caught completely off guard in 2016.
Yeah,
they didn't realize what a groundswell there had been. We
were here to warn people about it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We were here, and people laughed us off the stage, and we kept coming back, and we kept coming back.
They were wrong, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not just a matter of we were right. They were wrong.
Yeah.
So, they don't count. Who cares? I mean, insofar as the social media platforms, their leadership is just making a career out of harassing people that don't agree with them.
Right.
But they're not cases anyway. How could anybody possibly agree with them? But again, as we're going through our time, economic downturn, massive layoffs, and not just blue collar jobs, right? Like the paper pushing jobs, AI is coming for the paper pushing jobs.
Yeah.
It's not coming for the plumbers and the loggers.
No.
It's coming for the make work.
Blue collar will be fine.
Government and corporate daycare, adult daycare jobs. Those are the ones that are going to be affected. And the problem is those are also massive demographics, right? Comprising a lot of minorities and ladies, right? Well, it's just true, right? They were affirmative action for the most part, and and those people vote.
Yeah.
It's not going to unroll the way they say it is. They're building data centers all over North America, Mike.
They're
And there's
building
at
one
least
here in
five
my
or
town.
yeah, well, this is the problem though, right? They built in California and Oregon, and they wanted to build one in Michigan, and the private equity company that was backing it backed out because there's probably half a dozen in America that were built, and then they went to the hydro company and said, okay, hook us up, and they said, forget it. You put out the lights in the next 3 counties. So there's just an incredible amount of money being poured into these stupid things, and they can't even turn the lights on. Okay, well, we'll get natural gas and turbines to make our own power. Gas turbines are on a 5-year backlog. At the rate they're building data centers in America, they would suck up all the juice produced in America by 2030.
One's
It's
being
not
built in my
happening,
town.
guys.
It's almost completed.
Well, BC Hydro has a lot of extra juice.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, how's it going to affect the average residential hydro bill? That's the question.
Right.
I think it's a little bit different here as opposed to, the private utility